Okay, so I've been there before. I know guitar scales can seem a bit pointless and a bit like hard work to learn at first and a bit overwhelming, like there's a lot to take in, but I promise there's not. So I'm going to get you started with how guitar scales work in this video. There's a lot to take in with regards to guitar scales. It is a long process, so make sure that you remember that it's kind of 2 steps forward and 1 step back process, which is why I'm going to make this video brief, not too long, and just enough to get you started. At least I'm going to explain a few things that you can do with scales, but you can also go way further than I'm going to explain in just this video. If you want to learn more about scales after watching this video, if there's anything in particular you want to know, let me know in the comments below. But I will tell you that everything that you know within music or within the guitar, within anything pitch related instrument wise, it's all made and named from guitar scales. So every chord you play, the name of it comes from a guitar scale. The way it's played comes from a guitar scale. So they are important to learn, even for the rhythmic aspect. A lot of people can think that scales are just for lead guitar. They're not. They're kind of the opposite, actually. They're for both, but they're even more so for rhythm guitar. When you combine every instrument together, and depending on what notes they're playing, if they're all playing different notes, you get what's called harmony. And the harmonic value between all the notes is defined from the scale or the key that you're within. So with regards to scales, I'm going to explain how they're built. First of all, every scale in music is built from the major scale. So the major scale is kind of the king or queen of scales. And if you was to learn one scale, that would be the scale to learn, because every other scale is built from that. The major scale is made from a series of tone and semitone intervallic steps. So a semitone is on the guitar, one note before or one note after another note, and a tone is 2 notes before or 2 notes after. So think of that in frets. If someone said move down by a semitone, that means move down by 1 fret. If someone says move up by a semitone, move up by 1 fret. If someone says move down by 2 semitones, it means move down 2 frets. If someone says move up by a tone, it means move up 2 frets. You can also get semitones and tones between 2 strings as well, and what you want to learn is the gap difference of a semitone and a tone between a string and the string after it. So the major scale is made from root, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. You're back on the root when you hit that last semitone. So if you play that sequence, you'll get a major scale. So I'll do that first of all on 1 string, because it'll be easier to see and visualize from me explaining that 1 fret is a semitone, 2 frets is a tone. So if I go in, I'm going to go F sharp major. So if I go root, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. See how it just feels and sounds right to end on that last note. So that's on 1 string. Obviously, you get reoccurrences on the guitar of the same note on the string above, lower down as well. So I can follow the sequence throughout a few strings to get to the octave. So what can you do with that scale? Well, the first thing you could do is you could utilize the scale as kind of like a lead thing, because there's a lot to take in with regards to chords with it. You could use it as a lead thing for just jamming in the key of F sharp major. Put a track on that's in the key of F sharp minor major, or create a loop, some chords, and just get used to whittling that away. That's a great start to how to use a scale, how a scale works. But then the scales in music are even more important for chords and rhythm than they are for lead playing, because all of your chord names are built from that. I'm not going to get into how chords are built because I have actually done a few videos on how triad chords, so standard, major and minor chords, are built. If you want to check them out, I will put a link somewhere, or just go on my channel. Subscribe if you can as well, because that helps, and just check out my videos, and they're on there somewhere. But it is a great easy way to play some chords using a scale without having to think so much about what the names of them are. Naming them is easy in the long run, by the way, but first of all you want to get your first 2 steps before you get into taking more steps into naming and stuff. So if you take 3 strings from your scale, or 2 strings, and play a note from that scale on each string, then you're creating harmony. So if I pick, for instance, and you're getting a chord, it doesn't matter that you don't know what the name of the chord is. You're getting, the notes are guaranteed to work with each other and sound good with each other. They're all in the same key. So I could pick this note on this string, this note on this string, and this note on this string. And I've got a major chord there that's got a doubled up root. So it's just missing the 5th. Sounds great. Then I could pick this note on this string, this note on this string, and this note on this string. And then I could pick this note on this string, this note on this string, and we'll go for this note on this string. And then I'll finish off with this note, and this note. So I could put them together. And you've got a nice little progression there with some interesting sounds and flavours in it as well, because of a couple of notes that we used within those. Doesn't matter that you don't know what the chord names are, you can learn that later down the line, but it's a great way of getting used to the scale. And if you learn the scale across 2 octaves, so to the highest string, you can do even more with it. So if we go, then you could start utilising more of those notes. Sounds great. Little bum note in there, but bum notes don't matter. You learn more from the mistakes than you do getting everything right all the time. So that's a great place to start with scales. It's how scales work as well. Like, scales work for both rhythm and lead, creating chords and understanding how chords work in the long run. I could go so much further into this, but the video would end up being about 24 hours long, probably even longer if I take a full-on deep dive into scales and then extending scales and changing one scale into another scale and explaining the chords that are involved within the scales. But I promise you, scales are worth learning on the guitar. They are one of the most important things with regards to guitar, as well as technique. They are one of the most important things, and they also help you, if you learn them, they help you to understand other instruments and how other instruments work as well, and also how to work with other musicians too. So if you're ever thinking about in the future moving on to another pitched instrument as well as the guitar, it's going to be really handy for you to learn scales and in the long run learn how they work. But it does take years and years, and it's a never-ending process to really start properly understanding them. So the best thing you can do is make a start now and start learning some scales. I hope that's helped you. If there's anything you want to know about scales, anything you want me to take a more specific deep dive into with regards to like how scales work or anything like that, just hit me up in the comments below. I'm here to help, and I'm here to share the knowledge as well. In the meantime, keep on rocking, and I'll catch you next time.